you a young, talented, and skilled person? Are you hardworking? Or do you have an entrepreneurial X factor? Then Erizon is the place for you. Erizon is a first-of-a-kind video broadcast that showcases talented and skilled young people with amazingly impressive entrepreneurial X factors within. Whether through talent or brilliant ideas, at Erizon, we believe that you have the ability to inspire many people around the globe and effectively encourage them to use their God-given potential to transform themselves, their communities, and thousands of lives. This amazing show rotates around opening young minds to new ideas, chances, possible hobbies, and passions other than the everyday obvious life paths. To all that wish to be inspired, do not miss to catch this show, which airs every last Friday of the month on our YouTube platform, Erizon. Erizon is presented by eMoments.
It's a want and it's a need. I am creating a heavenly joy for the world to feel.
Hi guys, my name is Emily Sonyanakabuye, and I would like to welcome you to yet another episode of Erizon, where you meet the sky. Today, I'm here with Ariella Tendo, and she is going to introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Ariella Tendo. I'm from Mount St. Mary's College Namagunga. I'm in S1. I'm 14 years old and I love doing coding. I'm a coder and I teach coding.
So today, we are going to talk to Ariella and find out more about coding. You know, coding is something very interesting with the discussions I've had with her. So I'll just first like to ask you, Ariella, what is coding to you?
Coding is like a passion. It's something that I love doing. It's kind of like a hobby, and I just love doing coding. Like it's a part of me now.
Okay, so it's a passion, you know. Some people like to say that my passion is kind of like eating food because, you know, people love eating food and people are passionate about it. So it brings us to, why do you code?
I code because I want to like make applications. I want to change the world, to add in more new technology, to advance things and make the world a better place.
You know, you mentioned something about changing the world, and like many people like to say they want to change the world, but using coding, which I estimate as something very complex, because doors opening, doors closing, fridges opening, that kind of thing is hard to do, yet people think it's something easy. So are there any hardships you face doing coding?
Yes. For example, when I'm like, making an application that I'm going to use to do something, I could like put in a wrong code or something and it will fail, and then I'll like start from like 6 a.m. and I'll reach at night when I haven't finished. Then when it's like the next day at 1 a.m. or something, but you can sleep, please sleep. But when it's 1 a.m., I'll figure out the answer, then I'll move on to the next step. Yeah.
Okay, so it takes time. What I've got from you is that when you write code, one small thing could create like a big error. You know, I personally have tried to do a bit of coding once, but things are hard. Because when you're writing, and let's say it's something related to English, and instead of putting like an exclamation mark, you put a full stop, and the whole page, nothing shows because of that one error, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, you said you want to change the world using coding, and by changing the world, I don't know what career you're looking at to change the world. So what do you plan to be in the future or right now? What are you working towards to?
So I personally want to work in NASA, the space company, though I also want to be an innovator, like another job I have, a CEO of some company that's going to make innovations. When I was in P2, ever since P2 or something like that, I started writing innovations that I wanted to do, that I wanted to program to make people's lives better and easier. So those are some of the things that I would like to do in future.
One thing about what you've said is a bit shocking, because like people at the age or in the class of P2, they don't normally have the ideation or the motive to write things down and say, okay, I want to be this and this when I grow up. Because I personally, when they used to call me at home, okay, so what do you want to be? I have no answer. I have no idea. Today, I want to say I'm going to be this and this. I want to do this and this. That's nice. Yeah. And that must be like because of upbringing, your parents, because,
Yes.
yeah, we need such people. Yes. So when did you start coding, and what languages are you most comfortable with right now?
I started coding when I was in P3. My sister introduced it to me. I was doing Scratch. I started with Scratch. I was doing Scratch for 2 years till P5. Then my sister had this coding boot camp, and she was teaching people Python, HTML, CSS. I knew those languages by that time, but then I wasn't really, going further. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do Python. I'm going to start on Python. So I started Python in P5, and I kept on pushing and pushing. I was teaching myself using YouTube. I used to be on my computer every now and then at night and the weekends. I was a desk scholar by then, and I would show my parents my projects, and they would elevate me. They would be happy for me. They'd be like, wow, this is a nice innovation. You're too young, but this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I started doing HTML in P6, CSS, and I'm currently doing JavaScript. I'm currently learning how to use JavaScript. Though in that time frame, I was also teaching children how to code from scratch to CSS, yeah.
Okay, so you said you tried or you were teaching yourself using YouTube. How easy did that come for you? Because most people fail to use YouTube to learn. They think it's hard, the tutorials are not easy, or like something that's shown on YouTube is not something that's applicable in real life. For example, baking. You cannot really bake using YouTube videos. It's very few videos that can actually give you something accurate for the space you're in. So how did you find using YouTube?
YouTube was actually very hard for me, very distracting, because I could go on YouTube, like on my For You page, and I see some nice video about my story animated, for example, and I'd be like, wow, I really want to watch this video. But then there's also the project that I haven't finished, and not these projects are 1 hour long. I feel like everybody's seen that problem. But it's determination and focus that I use to like maneuver my way.
Okay, so first lay for me out like the languages you can do. You say you could do HTML,
Yes.
CSS, Python.
Yes.
You're doing JavaScript and
Scratch.
Scratch. Okay, so what's your favorite language of those, and what's the most favorable thing that you like doing in coding? What's the favorite?
I'm going to say my most favorite thing in coding is making websites and applications. To do that, I use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's just very interesting how I'm going to link things and make a page, and I go to Google, my browser, and then, a page comes up. Python is not really that interesting when it comes to that, because I'm just going to be kind of limited to like one thing, making games. It doesn't really go to the website, even though you can link it to there. But that's my favorite thing to do.
Okay, so do you see yourself at a point where you can say you came far in what you're doing?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I came from making sprites, like animating my name on Scratch, and now I'm doing big things like making websites and applications. So I guess I came far. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a few questions. There are opinions from some people since you're more into science.
Yeah.
Well, I did a survey, and we asked a question that states science versus art. And you're into science.
Yes.
So we asked, which do you think is more important or which do you prefer? So people that did this, were part of the survey, answered sciences. Another person said sciences. Then one was like both. Honestly, this argument is like, how can you live in a world without both of these? You depend on both of them because this is art and we're using science to do the cameras. Yes. Then another one was like both, knowing about the environment and how to take care of it, global warming and everything is a topic in geography, which is important. And we also need the knowledge of science subjects because they're important to our lives, to our health. So they say both. Then most people were like, everything is important. Even in the music, the lyrics are the art, and the way it's produced is the science. So what do you think particularly about science and art?
I think that both are really necessary, honestly, because science, okay, I'm going to relate it to these coding languages that I do, because let's say HTML and JavaScript is our science, but CSS is the one that's going to design it, and that's art. You need to like have a bit of a background about art, right? So I guess both of them are very important.
Okay, yeah. I think that concludes, through the survey that we did, it turns out that science and art are both important. They work together. Because with this comment from someone, they were like, no man is an island. You can only succeed when you allow yourself to be carried on somebody else's shoulder. Yes. So about coding, let's go back to the bit about coding. What's your motivation? Something that makes you or takes you into, I need to code, I need to do this and this on my computer, this must be done, I must create this. What's the motivation behind it?
I have very many people to look up to at my home. The number one example is my sister. She's really focused and determined, and that just drives me to be like her. And also the passion to do things, to make an application. Like I want this application to be done so that the world can use it, so the world can see. Then another person that pushes me to do it is my dad. He he wakes me up and he's like at 6 a.m. and he's like, you have to do this, you have to finish it. I'm like, I don't want to, like it's too early in the morning, but it just drives me and I'm like, you know what, I have to do this, I have to finish this project. I want it to be done. I want it to make a difference in the world.
Okay, so from your motivation, I picked up some people who are probably people who push you, that drive you. Yeah, so could you like talk about them, your biggest supporters? Yes, I've heard about your dad, your sister. Is there anybody else?
Yes, my mom and my brother. My brother's always there to like give me information, to enlighten me on new current things and what to do. My brother also tells me to like focus, and he's just really helpful to me. Then my mom is always there to guide me. um, yeah, I guess my family, basically my whole family, they're my biggest supporters.
So you thrive on family. Family motivates you, they drive
Yes.
you. And I think that's something very good because like without family, there's nowhere I would be in life, in our different sectors, whatever we do. Family is the first. And when they push us, we find the courage to push ourselves. So as we conclude, what message are you sending out with your coding? Or personally, what message would you like to send out to the people viewing?
So I want to tell you, if you failed, for example, your PLE exams, your UCE or UACE, those ethics exams, you've gone to university level, you failed your masters or things like that, I want to tell you it's about your skill. Because we've seen people who have degrees, who have documents and everything, but they don't have skill. They don't know how to do things. They just have it in their head. Like they just speak, but they can't show what they can do. They can't be practical. I think that if you have the skill, like you're good. Though documents are very important, which means don't fail on purpose. Just don't be like, oh, that this is not really important. It is, but skill is very important. Like it's about what you can do. Yeah, it's about what you can do.
Okay. So I hope you got that right, everybody who's viewing. Yes. So it's like common knowledge or public knowledge whereby we know that you've just joined senior secondary school education. But we would like to ask, how does it feel to be coming to senior one? Because like most people be like, it's hard. Some schools carry out maybe bullying and all that. So how is it? How does it feel to be in senior one, Mount St. Mary's College Namagunga?
Senior one, okay, I have to agree. It's just about, trying to adjust from your old surroundings. Like, you just have to adjust because that's life. You aren't going to become like a well brought up person if you haven't found hardships in your life, right?
Yeah.
So the hardships make us who we are. Like, they bring us up, they change us. Yeah.
Okay, so through our research as Erizon, we found out when you went to Mount St. Mary's, you started with a new idea. You're new, but you started with a new idea about coding and involving the students there more in coding. So please expound and tell us more. What's the ideology behind that? It's hard for someone who's come into a new environment, a new light, to come up, have the courage or the idea to say, okay, so I want to do this. So please tell us.
Even before I entered Mount St. Mary's College, even before like applying and everything, I was like, I want to start up a coding club in this school because there's not really many people who know coding, and Uganda is like not everyone knows coding, right? So I want people my age, kids my age, to also know coding, to also share the knowledge I have, to also like, because we are different people. I may have an idea, but someone out there who doesn't know coding has a bigger idea than I have. And if we nurture them and I teach them and they also like get to know about like how to code, they'll improve our world, they'll improve our technology. And yes, then how I got the idea, or
Yeah, how you got the idea or even the courage to.
the courage. In my family, confident. They teach us how to be confident. Like my dad's always telling us, be at the front, don't be behind, don't sit at the back. Because you never know what you'll get when you go in front and be like, oh, I'm going to do this. So always be at the front, always push yourself. Just be like, push away the scaredness and, oh, they're going to laugh at me, or what will they think? Just go in front and be like, I want to do this. If it fails, try again. If it fails, go to something else. Yeah.
Okay, those are very encouraging words. I feel inspired. So as we end, I want to ask you, do you think coding and technology are a necessity?
I think coding and technology are a necessity. Coding is writing like a set of instructions for a computer to do something. And technology is basically, I think, kind of like a skill.
Making life better?
Yes,
Easier?
making life better, easier, using other things, not necessarily using coding. So I think both are really necessary. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ariella. It has been a pleasure having you here. And I look forward to seeing great things from you, better things, being involved with you, working with you, seeing the world changing through you. And I would like to say that's a wrap for today. Okay, so I would also like to thank you for honoring my invitation, Erizon's invitation, for coming, because we need all the help we can get as youth, as people growing, as us, the people who are going to be nation changers. We need people like you to come inspire, tell us more about what we don't know, because I believe coding is something that's out there, but as in Uganda, Africa, it's not something that's thriving. So thank you so much for coming. I'd like to thank you guys who watch our videos. I'd like to thank you, those who push and support our content. Thank you so much. We love you. Thank you for watching and subscribing. Erizon. Thank you. Where you meet the sky.
Do not miss to catch this show, which airs every last Friday of the month on our YouTube platform, Erizon. Erizon is presented by eMoments.